say other than, welcome guests. I look forward to reaching out to each and every one of you and getting to know you, see if we can be helpful. Or if you're just here for Lori, I don't blame you. Lori is absolutely amazing. We've been blessed and fortunate to get to know Lori personally and closely over the past, few months. And I'm so excited for this event. And Lori, take it away.
Thank you. So, hi, everyone. Most of you know me because you're either in the V5O group or in another networking group. So most of you know who I am. So welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. I have a presentation today for you on procrastination. So if you are a procrastinator, you will find out, and you'll also find out how to fix it. And plenty of time at the end for Q&A. If you have a comment or a question, put them into the chat box and I'll have a look at that as often as I can. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. There we go. Okay, so everybody can see my screen. Cool. So first thing that we have to ask ourselves is, what is procrastination at all? Oops. Nope. There we go. So the definition of procrastination was created by Napoleon Hill, who also wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. So he's really the father of the law of attraction. And he said that procrastination is the bad habit of putting off until the day after tomorrow what should have been done the day before yesterday. I think a lot of people, that makes sense to a lot of people. So there are a bunch of signs that will tell you whether or not you're a procrastinator. So as I go through these, just make a note of how many of them apply to you. So the first one is, do you always feel like you're under the gun? Procrastinators always feel like they have this huge to-do list and they're just never going to get past it. Procrastinators have trouble keeping up because there's so many things on your plate usually and you're juggling things. Their list of must-do projects grows longer and longer. So you go and you're working, and regardless of that, you still find that there's just not enough hours in the day. Procrastinators go for the easy solutions rather than the better and more complicated ones. So usually they leave things to the last minute, don't have time to do things properly, and so they just work with what they have and often are not producing their best work. Procrastinators have trouble choosing between the important and the trivial. So you could be working on a project and somebody comes into your office and they want to discuss the latest movie that they saw, and so you take time to chat with them. That's a form of procrastination. You're choosing the trivial over the important. And procrastinators get easily distracted. Procrastinators also have a hard time making up their mind because they're afraid they're going to make a mistake. Okay. They delay finishing one project until they think it's perfect and generally demand perfection in work and also in other parts of their life. So this applies as much to your personal life as it does to your business life. So are you often too tired to start or finish a project you should undertake? Are you easily bored and never ask for help? And that's a real telltale sign of procrastinators, is that they're really just not good at asking for help. Do you spend more time hoping and wishing that these things would get done than actually doing them? And do you think that things will get better by themselves? So I'm going to just see here. So how many people, I don't know if there's a way for me to see. So how many people have more than 5?
I'm close.
Yeah, 5 or more?
I'm not really close. I don't want to lie to myself.
Yeah.
Lori, in all truth, everyone, I used to have all of them, but I found more pain in being a procrastinator than learning how not to be one. But I could always use, new tools and improvement.
Sure. Being a procrastinator it's like, you look at the stats, right? 97% of the population considers themselves a procrastinator. And for 75%, it's really a chronic problem. Okay, then there's another 3% who say they never procrastinate. And I think they're lying personally, because everybody procrastinates on something. So there's nobody that doesn't procrastinate on anything, but I'll let those 3% live in their fantasy world. So one of the things that's a really cool thing that I learned and made a huge difference. We all know there's an 80-20 rule in business, which means that 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers. So that's how it works in business. How it works in procrastination is that the 80-20 rule means that really only 20% of the work that you put out needs to be perfect, right? Procrastinators will not send out something unless it's absolutely perfect. And not everything has to be perfect. The remaining 80% can be good or good enough. And the perfect example is if you are doing a presentation for a client, a report for a client, that has to be perfect. There's just no doubt about that. It's client facing, has to be perfect. But there are people who really sit down and think about every single word that they're writing in an email when they're just sending an email to a colleague. And so you need to realize that there's a real big difference between what really needs to be perfect and what does not need to be perfect. It needs to be good or good enough. And I know that when I learned that, that relieved a lot of stress for me because I'm a perfectionist. And for me, everything had to be perfect. I always waited until it was the right time. And finally, what you really need to learn is that really the right time is now. So, when should I be doing this? Now. There's no better time than the present. And, I tell my coaching clients that they should be taking, instead of worrying about perfection, they should be taking one small, imperfect step every day towards reaching their goal. So it doesn't need to be perfection. Just take a small baby step towards that goal. What I'll show you after is a really neat trick where, most of your work, you can get, most of your work done in a smaller period of time, understanding that the right time is now. So there are two kinds of procrastinators. So there's the purposeful procrastination, and these are people that say, I work better under pressure. Now, I have to be truthful that there really are some people who really do work better under pressure, but it's a very small minority. The second kind of procrastination is called productive. And most people suffer from this, if not both. And this means is that I'll just do this one thing first. So I'll just go check the mail before I respond to this email. I'll just respond to this email before I get the report started. So it's known as, I'll do this first. The problem with that is that when you keep doing that, and you keep doing these small things first, you never actually get to the task at hand that really needs to be completed. So what does procrastination cost you? Well, like it says in the title, procrastination equals poverty. If a client calls you and you do not call back that client within 30 minutes, or at least within the same day, within some reasonable delay, chances are they've called other suppliers. And 75% of the business is shown in stats that 75% of the business goes to the person who responds to the client first. So if you're procrastinating, if you have leads and you're procrastinating on following up on your leads, that is actual money that is coming out of your pocket, because that business is going somewhere. And it's going, they say the early bird catches the worm. It really is true. Procrastination costs us time and energy. Spend a lot of time. If you're a procrastinator, you spend a lot of time procrastinating, and it sucks up all of your energy, so that when you actually come to do the task, you just don't have the energy to do it. Okay? It also causes overwhelm. So people who are procrastinators feel very overwhelmed. They feel like they have a to-do list of 100 things and that nothing is ever going to get done. And they're just, they feel guilt over things. I should have done this yesterday. I should have done this the day before yesterday. And all of that guilt and overwhelm really takes a number on your self-confidence. Okay. So there are psychological reasons why people procrastinate, and I'm sure you'll find yourself in one of these. So the first one is it's your parents' fault. And, we always look back and say, well, it's our parents' fault. But if your parents were procrastinators, that's what you learned. If your parents were late and they did things at the last minute, that's what you learned. So in this case, for someone like that, this is a habit that needs to be changed. A lot of people have a fear of success. So we hear a lot about the fear of failure. But the fear of success is really something very interesting because there are people who will, and this is all subconscious, they will prevent or they won't start on a project because if they succeed, they may get a promotion. If they get that promotion, they may be required to do a lot of public speaking, of which they are horribly afraid. So people will actually, through procrastination, sabotage themselves out of, whether it's, promotions or new job responsibilities or, just having new experiences in life. Generally, or often, this is my case, there's been a trauma or a bad experience in the past. So those of you who know me know that I actually started out my career as a tax lawyer. I spent 7 years as a tax specialist. And whenever I had to phone Revenue Canada, I'd get conniptions because I knew that I was going to go from department to department, and then they would send me somewhere else. I'd end up in voicemail hell. Excuse me, and then I would get hung up on. So still to this day, when I need to call the bank, or I need to call Revenue Canada, or I need to call like a financial institution or one of my utilities, I procrastinate because I feel like I only have bad experiences. Commonly said by procrastinators is, if only I had more time, I could have done a great job. That's what we hear. If only I had more time. When the fact is that you did have more time. You had a lot of time, but you didn't take advantage of that. And so, often if you leave things to the last minute, unless you're really the kind of person who's hardwired to work at the last minute, of which there are very few of you, then you are not going to be putting out your best product. And so if you're looking to grow in your job or in your career and you're leaving things to the last minute and you're putting out only lukewarm product, your success is going to be limited. And there again, it shows you how procrastination costs you money. We put off things that are threatening because fear is a strong motivator and procrastination serves as protection. So we all have heard about our comfort zone. Procrastinators tend to stay in their comfort zone. The problem with that is that the comfort zone is meant to keep you small. So it keeps you from going beyond your limits. So, if you don't like public speaking and you need to give a presentation, and they're going to pay you $5,000 for this, it's time to get over the fear of presenting, right? Because again, there's more money that is going to cost you. And we like to avoid confrontation and risk. So where do we see this most? We see this in leaders who avoid having a conversation with an employee or avoid having a difficult conversation with a client. So we all procrastinate when it comes to that because nobody likes to have confrontation. Nobody likes risk. And so ultimately we procrastinate for that reason. So here are some really great tips. I've got 10 tips that you can use to get unstuck. And even if you just follow one of them, you will see a huge difference in your productivity. So the first thing you need to do is ensure you're in the right environment for success. For some people, that means working at a desk. For some people, that means working at Starbucks. It really depends and is different for everybody. There's nothing that says in order to work, you need to be sitting in an office or behind a desk. Some people just don't work well that way, and they work better at their kitchen table. So that's totally, you have to realize that that's totally cool. As long as you're setting yourself up for success in terms of your workspace, then that's what you need to do. You need to follow your own body clock. That's really important. And we were just talking about this, you know, Lane and Alan and I were talking about this before, is that everybody has their own body clock. So I'm a morning person. I work well. I do my best work between like 8 and 1. And so I save my work, like phone calls and things that I need to do that are, you know, require sort of less brain energy. I save those for the afternoon, and I do the things in the morning that I know that are really going to take my energy. So usually those are bigger projects. You know, there's the expression, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's how I start out my mornings. If you take whatever your project is and you take it and you break it down into the absolute smallest pieces, then you will never have to worry about the big thing. So, for example, you would never put on your to-do list, write a book. It's just too massive. But what you might put is research book topic. And then the next one could be research, you know, publication. Another one might be draft your table of contents. Another one might be write chapter 1. So write the draft of chapter 1, and then write the final of chapter 1, and then draft of 2 and final of 2. So you see, you can do this for absolutely any activity that you have to do. You can break it down into the smallest little steps. The beauty of doing that is that it's easy to get the little steps done. And if you take care of all the little things, the big thing takes care of itself. So it takes the stress off. When you break a task into the smallest common denominators, it takes off a lot of stress. Also, you'll find that as you start ticking off all of these small things, you start to get more confident, and you start to get more productive, and you start to do better. So it leads to a whole chain reaction. You need to understand your why. So, you know, Simon Sinek is the first person who said that. And he said, understand your why. Why are you doing this? So why are you doing this project? Why are you doing this task? Why are you at this job? What is it that you want to accomplish? So if you're looking and you're saying, you know, my why is that I want to be able to go and retire someplace warm, that's your why. And so that's what you need to keep in mind when you're procrastinating, is that procrastination is costing you money, and you're never going to get to your why if you procrastinate. I'm a big believer in scheduling your time in advance. I have a sheet that I use called a weekly planner, which I'm happy to share with everybody. And what I do on that is I write down all of the tasks that need to be done this week, and then I break them down into the smallest pieces, and I write those small pieces in my agenda. So I actually, because I do a lot of networking, I actually block out big hours in my calendar each day, 2 or 3 hours, to make sure that I'm using that time to actually get the work done. And I plan what work am I going to be doing during that time. The next thing is pick your big top 3. So if you walk away with one piece of advice, understand this. Your to-do list is never going to be empty. When you die, your inbox will be full. That's the fact of life. So pick every morning. What I do and my clients is we sit down and we say, what are the top 3 things that I have to get done today? So it's a list that goes, if nothing else, I will 1, 2, 3. What are the 3 things you're going to do today? You may get 5 things done. You may get 10 things done. But most people can really only do 3 to 5 real tasks in one day. So if you realize that and you stop looking at your to-do list, which is going to overwhelm you because there's so much stuff on it, and just every day pick out 3 things that you're going to do that day, we come back to the adage that I said before, that if you take care of the small stuff, the big stuff takes care of itself. Some things you really just need to force yourself to do. So it's like Nike, like just do it. For me, that's exercise. I don't love exercise. I procrastinated. So I hired a personal trainer. So now I can't procrastinate because I need to show up. And I just do it. So even on days when I say to myself, oh, I really don't feel like working out today, I don't even let myself go there. I say, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get on the video with him and I'm just going to do it. And you can reward yourself. So rewarding yourself, self-bribery really does work. Believe it or not, it really does work. So if you've conquered something or you've finished getting those 3 things done, reward yourself. It could be that you get to go out for a walk. It could be that you buy yourself an extra latte. It could be anything that is a reward to you. Using positive self-talk is really important. We always say to ourselves, oh my God, I can't believe I'm so useless. I didn't get anything done today. And that certainly does absolutely nothing to get you going. So you've got to, like we go back to, reward yourself for things when you have actually accomplished that. And the biggest and smartest thing you can do is get an accountability partner. So accountability partners could be someone like me as a coach, or they could be a colleague of yours. It could be your neighbor. But when you set out a goal and you tell people what that goal is, those people can help you be accountable. So for example, they say if you're losing weight, that you should communicate to a friend or a partner that I'm on a diet and I want to lose 10 pounds. Because when you vocalize it, it becomes more real. Okay. So what have we learned? We have learned that procrastination costs time, energy, and most of all, money. We learned that procrastination is poverty, destroys your self-confidence and your self-esteem, and that if you take care of the small stuff, the big stuff will take care of itself. So that is my presentation. I invite you all. Here's my Calendly link. It's really simple, calendly.com/Lori Karpman. And I invite you all to schedule a session with me. Just grab an hour on my calendar. And I would be very happy to do a productivity assessment and to give you tips and tricks that are actually, relate to you and your particular situation so that you can be more productive. And I know that clients who follow, my coaching clients who follow, our assessment and who follow our system, they get back on average 3 to 5 hours a week that they didn't have before. So what would you do with an extra 3 to 5 hours a week? Think about that, because if you stop procrastinating, you will have that time in your schedule. And so that is my presentation, and I'm certainly happy to open it up to questions if anybody has any questions.
Well, that's a lot to take on in 45 minutes. I can't tell if I'm excited or made myself more depressed listening to all that.
I'm happy to share the presentation also. So,
Please.
I can send that off to
Yeah.
Lane and he can post it in the where the events are or wherever that stuff goes on the website. So I'm happy to share the presentation. And I really do want you all to take me up on, on your personal assessment. It's absolutely not a sales pitch. I promise you that. It's not a sales pitch. I really just want to provide value.
I think Scott has a question.
Sure.
It's really more of a comment. I've known Lori for, I think, about 1.5 years now, and I have always found her to be top notch in whatever she's talking about, always willing to help. And I will tell you, Lori, this goes back to a conversation we had way back. One of the things that she told me was, if you don't want to procrastinate, hire the people to do the jobs you hate doing. And you know what? It was, it adds to the fixed cost bottom line, but, keeping whatever hair I still have left.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, but my perspective on this was this seems to be a lot bigger than just procrastination. Procrastination is just one aspect, I think, in our our daily lives. Because when you were speaking, Lori, I was saying to myself, this is perfect timing, especially those who attended the authenticity workshop, for the past 3 weeks, because you touched on a few things that we were really focused on for the past 3 weeks, and that's core values, accountability. All this really goes hand in hand. And a lot of what you said, resonated and hit home for me, probably speaking for a lot of people, just some of the little tips and tricks you can do. And most importantly, this is something Alan and I talk about daily, is understanding your why. Why do you do the things that you do?
Yeah, that's very true. Is understanding your why is a really big component. I'm getting great comments here in the chat box. So thank you, everybody. It was my pleasure, absolutely my pleasure to do the presentation. So thanks for all the nice wishes and kind words.
And Lori, I agree. I have a friend who just quit smoking, and it wasn't real for him until he let us know.
Right.
Because now when we see him, he can't, now he's held accountable.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I think it's so important to say it out loud. And listen, people losing weight, it's great to have a buddy, someone to hold you accountable. And Scott, you look like Desi Arnaz up there with that head of hair compared to Lane and I. And so
If you give me the ability to share, I will show you a picture of a head of hair.
I have that head of hair. It's just on my back now. So
Lori, you saw the picture of me, right?
Yep.
Should I show it to them?
Sure.
All right, hold on. Let me grab the picture. I'm going to give
all
you all a good laugh in a retro way. I'm taking you
keep
back.
it clean, Scott.
It is clean. I'm taking you back to 1973. You just got to give me a second to
Yeah,
get to
Lori,
it.
while Scott's looking for his picture, with a presentation like this, I'm expecting some type of homework assignment. What can we all do? What can you kind of hold us accountable to, or even just challenge us over the next week?
Yep. Well, what I'd like, I'm going to just put my email in here. And I want everybody to send me something that they have been procrastinating on and by when they're going to get it done.
Awesome.
So, and I am going to hold each one of you accountable. So email me,
Okay.
tell me this is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to get it done. And I promise I will hold you accountable to that. So whatever it is you want to get done, I will be your accountability partner.
I love
But we
that.
can't hold off on emailing you. Take it.
Yeah, you can. That's right.
All right, here we go. Get ready to laugh. The only clue I'm giving you is the
Oh,
I'm the guy wearing
wow.
Oh,
glasses.
wow.
Oh my God.
Everybody's got a lot of hair.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but this is what we affectionately in New York City called a Jufro. Because a lot of kids from either Italian or Jewish descent had this curly hair we couldn't comb down. I took a lot of teasing from all my friends who had natural afros, but it was all good fun.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Is that Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band?
no, actually, this was a practice hall that we rented from a local day camp. They were thrilled because they didn't do anything during the winter, and we would practice every weekend. So yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of
Did
fun.
you record the music?
Yeah, this guy, he's still playing. Johnny unfortunately passed, but this guy still plays. He's got some of our originals that, now that you remind me, I really need to get a copy. I find out he's been making money on him, and he's gonna find my lawyer.
Yeah, really. Gotta find out if there's money there for
Now,
you.
Louis is too good a guy. Louis, I always say this with pride because his father was a great man. His father was the first Hispanic officer in the U.S. Army Air Force to be given command of a B-17
Wow.
in Europe. And he flew 37 combat missions.
Yeah.
So Louis comes
Incredible.
from a great family. So,
But you still want your royalties.
well, Well, I mean, it's business,
Yeah, business is
I mean,
business.
listen, if you want to be politically incorrect, I'm going to. I'm Jewish. What do you want from me?
Funny, Scott,
Come
Scott,
on, if you can't laugh at yourself, people, we're in trouble.
that's the beauty of V5O. Scott's picture reminded me. I've been telling Alan and Lori, you might have to hold me accountable for this. I've been wanting to obtain, childhood or teenage pictures of all of our members, make a collage, put it out there to the
Oh my
community,
gosh.
have them guess who's who and hold a little contest around it, and we'll present it at one happy hour, who the winner is and who the photos are, everyone. That could just be so much fun to do. So
Oh my.
Can I ask one question? Because
Please.
I know one or two people in the group, just because of the other network, but where are most of the people in your meetings from? Is it a blend of Canada and the US or all over?
Yes. It started in New York City. And, it's borderless now. We're across the US. We've tapped into Canada. We've had people come on from Germany.
Nice.
Yeah. It's one thing we've learned, Scott, throughout COVID is we can do business now with people. It's borderless.
I will tell you personally, COVID put me back into 50 states of business as opposed to the tri-state 3.
Yeah. I think we were all a little, with the tunnel vision, just focused on our own little bubbles. And what COVID allowed us to do is, veer out and get to know some really amazing people that we probably would have never
Agreed.
crossed paths with.
And
You
it's
know,
So
a lot less
I do a
gas.
ton of, sorry, I do a ton of business in the US now, much more than I was doing prior to COVID. And that's because of all this virtuing network. So the
Mhm.
networking has been great for me.
yeah, and one comment I'll make, Scott, is one thing that we've been able to prove as a community is we proved out the impossible, where we can really build meaningful relationships, virtually. And I can go through.
That's really important because Lori and Katrina and Esther on this call tell you that the group that I know these ladies from, nobody pitches. Nobody pitches. Nobody tries to close the business. Nobody tries to ask for the order. And even though I've actually got some clients on the resources I've been able to add to my practice, it's just off the scale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that approach. So
sounds like the two groups are very much aligned, which is, Lane and I saw this as white space. And when we couldn't network in person anymore, and we hated the word networking, we used to just get good people together and just, get to know each other. Thank God through COVID and through the Zoom and everything else, I think people have warmed up and opened up so much more than they ever would have done walking into a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
We're not looking for business cards and to walk out with the most business cards. And Scott, we do breakouts throughout the week where we really get vulnerable, crying, laughing. And I'm looking at, 65% of the people on here are some of my closest friends. These are my 3 a.m. calls.
I don't do a lot of networking outside the roundtable because I just simply don't have the time, but this is one of my favorites. Lori's not at every group, so that also plays a role, but yeah, there's definitely a synergy of culture and people. And
yeah, and I love your stuff on LinkedIn, Esther. I mean,
thank you.
You get it.
Really all I do is share everyone else's. So Lori, he likes their stuff. Scott,
we should
Lori's post
co-mingle.
is going up next.
Maybe once a month we should co-mingle and just get everyone,
Absolutely.
there's
Power.
nothing.
I think I still owe you a one-to-one from our last meeting. It's on my list, I swear. Procrastinator 101. I'm so busy
And
learning
I'm
about
holding you to that, Esther. I'm going to make sure that you
There
book
you
your
go.
appointment with Alan. I'm holding you to that.
Please, that'd be great.
I would love it.
Yeah, and to Scott's point, and I'm sure it's the same with you and your community as well. When and if someone needs help, and we all do, when you ask, the hands go up, and the help comes immediately.
And I love connecting people. I love connecting people. And Alan, I sent you my calendar. Let's get something on the books.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk. I just think that, there's so many needs I can fill externally
Mhm.
for my clients. Because from my perspective, look, I'm a financial advisor. Forget all of that. We all know the whole story with all that, fine. But if I'm not trying to protect my clients at every level, I lost a big client 25 years ago because he did not have the proper property casualty insurance and liability on a machine he designed and placed. It cost me a $2 million account. And he
Yeah.
told me the week before that I was doing better than his other guys. So it's that type of resource that I value so much from these meetings. So
I want to know how many people have emailed me with what I need to be held accountable for. I'm checking my emails. I don't see too many.
Trying to pay
Lori,
attention.
You're all
Oh my gosh.
all right, Lori,
Lori, I
I'm
heard.
going,
actually,
I'm
I
going,
have a
Mom,
question.
I'm going.
I'm
Lori, I
Trying to
actually
pick
have a
something
question.
easy that I think I could do.
Lori, I
Yeah,
actually have a
listen,
question
whatever
for
it
you.
is, make it something that's meaningful to you. Because I am going to hold you accountable and I will help you get there. If you have problems, I will help you get there. So, try and make it something
What
that,
was the
that you
homework
really want to
assignment
get done
again,
or
Lori?
that's really meaningful.
Lori, give me the homework assignment again.
The homework assignment is to email me with something that you have been procrastinating on that you want to accomplish. I'm going to say within the next 30 days. So something you've been procrastinating on, you want to get it accomplished in the past 30 days. You must email me. So I should be getting like 20 some odd emails.
All right,
And
I'm gonna
then-
email you. I'm gonna email you when I get off, only because I don't want to just fling something at you.
Sure, sure.
Perfection.
And book time with me. The session is free. Book time with me on my Calendly link. Very simply, calendly.com/Lori Karpman.
Did you all notice what Carolyn said?
Yeah,
Scott said
I noticed.
he didn't want to just
But
swing it.
really,
He
no.
said
It,
Perfection.
it isn't, because there's two issues, and I want to pick the one that right now I think is more important and
Okay,
more timely. So there. But
whatever
Carolyn,
it is, I
very,
will
Well,
hold
listen,
you
if
very
any of
accountable.
you
quick,
need
very
help,
quick.
if any of you need help with support on, obtaining that goal or reaching that, please reach out to all of us. Like Scott, nothing makes Lane and I happier than when someone reaches out where it's not business or it's something personal, it's something about their child, it's something about this. Like Scott said, what we realized over a past year and 10 months, we have some amazing subject matter experts on here. We have some amazing human beings. So there's no crazy ask because we seem to find the right people to fulfill that. And
Carrie, did you have a
Lori,
question?
yeah, I actually did. My question really is about time management. Did you also help with that? So, I mean, I know there's a procrastination element that we're focusing on today,
Yeah.
which is great. But a lot of times, like you were mentioning as well, like that when you procrastinate, it's really because you have a lot on your plate and you try to juggle it all. So time
Right.
management comes into play.
Yeah.
So do you focus on that as
Yeah,
well?
my coaching practice is for executives, entrepreneurs, and it is all about productivity. So it's whether it's work life, your personal life. I coach on both, and it is time management, it's productivity, it's goal setting, it's strategic planning, and it's holding you accountable. And the nice thing I think that I have is because I'm a management consultant, if someone puts on their thing that they need to write a strategic marketing plan, for example, I can actually help them do that because I have templates and stuff for that. So it's a mix of business and lifestyle coaching, and it's meant to give you quality of life.
Excellent.
So anybody who wants to chat with me, please do. Robert,
Lori, I have
you
a
got your hand
question.
up? Sorry, Carolyn, go ahead.
So you said to break it down to little pieces. When do you sit down, and is it any particular time you sit down and write that massive list of things that you have to do? When does that come into play?
Well, you write that massive list once, but the list is always growing, right? You're always
Right.
going to be adding things
Editing,
to your
right.
list, right? So as you
Mhm.
add them to your list, add them in small bits. So it may look like you have a list of 100 things instead of 20 things, but you'll get that list done faster than you would just a list of 20.
And you're integrating your personal and the business, everything in
Absolutely.
that. Okay.
Yep. Dick?
Dick, please.
Yeah, I'm kind of new to this, and I wonder if you'd give me just a quick overview. Do we get a newsletter when we signed up? How do we find out what's up and coming for the group? Can you just give me a quick answer on that?
Lena.
Sure. Thank you for participating and registering. Emails go out almost daily, but we'll keep you posted on important events, how to be a guest at a happy hour, get exposed to the community, find out who everybody is. So, we have, obviously your email when you registered, so we'll keep you in the loop. And again, we'd love to have you be our guest and meet the community.
Great, look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick. Yeah, and
Robert?
listen, we'd love to reach out to you and see where what your needs are, and maybe we could just start it that way instead of bombarding you with everything.
Okay, thanks again.
Great.
Robert, you had a question?
I had more of a comment, but I'll agree with the consensus. Great job, Lori. Definitely painful for me to recognize that I check off most of these boxes. I've been a professional procrastinator for many years, and my name is Robert. And
Yeah, it's like Procrastinators Anonymous.
yes, but the only thing is, I know it's not. I know it causes anxiety. I know it causes stress. I know it causes lower productivity. But when you complete the task that you've been procrastinating for so long, it's such a relief. It's such a a joyous feeling that I've done some of my best work, going back to school, writing the paper at 3 o'clock in the morning that I put off for months and months.
Yep, some people really can do that. I do an assessment called Colby. If any of you have ever heard of it, it's a Colby A assessment. And I come across every once in a while, I do come across someone whose Colby profile shows that they are actually better off leaving things to the last minute, but it's a very small percentage.
Needs the stress.
I know someone like that.
I am someone like that.
Those are
We're
the
all
people that win the
someone like that.
lottery.
I used to be the opposite. As soon as it hit my desk, had to be done and finished. And then I had kids and shit hit the fan and that was the end of it.
Yep.
I guess I have to have kids.
Carolyn, if you win the lottery, you're gonna have at least 90 to 180 days of pure hell.
I'll take it because I have 1,000 days of hell. Okay,
Okay.
I'll take it.
Understood, but if you do, change your phone. Don't leave the house for a couple of days, and understand that the first 90, everyone and their mother is
I
gonna be
would
calling you.
never let anyone know. I've got it all
Oh, you
planned. All I
don't-
need is to win.
Carolyn, most states, you gotta take the picture when they give you the big billboard check.
Well, then
Okay.
I'll have to
And
move
take
to
the
another
lump
state.
sum, take the lump sum.
Yes, yes, and I'll call you for my financial
Yeah,
advice.
call me
There you
and
go.
and 2 or 3 others, because you gotta like who you're gonna work with.
Wow. And you think I'm not going to like you with all that hair?
No, I'm just trying to be reasonable, that's all, but I appreciate it.
The
Oh,
other
I'm checking
question-
my emails now, people.
Fred,
my
what'd you
gosh.
think, Fred?
Too much pressure, Lori.
Oh, I've got a couple. Yay.
Diana here from Texas.
I sent one.
I've got a lot of procrastination. I'm one of the ones that wait till the very last minute to do anything, and it kind of works,
How do you feel?
He was talking about waiting till the last minute on the paper for college. Yeah, that was me. Accounting, horrible.
Yeah, me too. I procrastinate like when I have to do things that are with numbers, like my taxes. I procrastinate doing all that kind of stuff. Anything that has to do with math, I procrastinate on. I was not born a mathematician by any definition.
Yeah,
Lori, what would you like us to hold you accountable?
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, Amir.
Why he's here?
Interesting.
Yeah,
You
why don't you
can-
send us all an email? so we can hold you accountable.
Oh, good. So all 30 people are gonna hound me at
No,
once.
Alan, you just made a mistake, Alan. You just made a mistake.
One for every day of the month.
Yeah, that's just what I need. One for every day of the week. Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah, till Friday.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
think
you
about
can
it.
answer, you can answer Amir separately.
Sure, we have a one-on-one setup, or we need to get a one-on-one setup with Amir, so.
Oh,
Cool.
next week.
Yeah.
You've been procrastinating on that, Lori. You've been procrastinating on that.
Yes, absolutely. I am guilty.
And Manny, I'm sure you deal with a lot of your clients that are procrastinators. When you're in the fitness
course.
industry,
Of course.
I'm sure you get every excuse.
I miss out so much myself. My wife says, no, you got to do this. And I say, okay, but I'm missing out my workout. She says, well, this still has to get done.
He's the boss.
Boss.
I need a wife like that.
Manny, I just
I
celebrated.
just need a wife
39 years.
altogether.
I just celebrated 39 years with my wife. And
Oh,
my father-in-law, when we got married about 5 minutes before the ceremony, fellas, I kid you not, even at 89, he'd take 5 guys who were as in shape as Manny is, and he just take them off like they weren't even there. And he looked me straight in the eye and he goes, if you want a happy marriage to my daughter, you only need to know 3 things. You're wrong, you'll be wrong, you'll always be wrong. And like, I'm looking at him like, where are you going with this, right? I'm 5 minutes away from saying I do. I'm like, and he goes, do I look happy? And I thought to myself, yeah, he does. He's always happy. He was right. He was right.
It's better than a father-in-law telling you, I got a shotgun and a shovel, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend who married a girl whose father was a highly decorated New York City detective. And this is going back to the late 70s. And he, after dinner, while they were waiting for dessert, he took him downstairs to the basement and showed him how he cleaned his gun. And it was the old 38 revolver with the cylinder. And Frank said when he snapped it closed, he practically jumped out of his seat.
That's something my father kind of did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, Terry? And I'm saying this because
My father was at YPD though.
Okay, so you have a real excuse. Your father's really a cop.
Right, but look, I've got a 34-year-old daughter that's one of the most capable people I've ever met in my life. Okay, but when she comes home to visit, if some guy comes to the house in a car and they're going to go bye-bye, and I've never met the guy, he's coming to the door. I know that sounds really old school and accuse me of whatever you want to accuse me, but she's my little girl. He's getting the look.
My ex-husband waited to leave our relationship, leave our marriage after my father died. I think he would have never done it if my father was alive.
Oh.
And your father
So
probably
he was scared.
Oh, but your father probably.
It's a joke. There's a joke in there. It's not meant to be said.
But your father probably would have respected him more if he came to him and said, look, it's not working. No, your father would have punched him out, huh?
Make it work.
Okay, I stand corrected.
YPD.
God would love our breakout sessions.
You know, I grew up in Los Angeles, and there was a great theater over there that is for all the up and coming and comedians that start up their businesses, called Grandling. And the first time I went to see a show with my then girlfriend, who later became my wife, there was I forget his name, there was a comedian, and he was talking about marriage, and he said, I just got married about a month ago. Everybody clapped for him, and he said, you know something, before I got married, I knew I had problems. I just did not know this many, how many I had. And then I got married to the same girl that we got over there. I still have not finished counting. So that is our life. And it's a very fortunate life, very fortunate life.
It is a blessing. I count myself very lucky to have the family that I do. I really do.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and for those that don't, you have your extended family here. That's what it's all about. But yeah,
You
thank
know,
you
we're all in
again.
this together.
Yeah,
And-
Leno, do you have a quick photo of your dad? Because I honestly thought that was your dad joining us.
Mr. Mass. Yeah.
Mr. Mass, you were a spitting image of Lane's father.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might take a little while to dig one up. I don't want to keep people. I don't have any, no, I don't have everything's on my phone, nothing sitting on my computer. And you know, when you go to look for something that you really want, you never find it.
Yeah.
Another time.
Ed,
We share all those pictures.
what are you thinking, Ed?
Mute myself. No, I think it's all good. I like the whole reward myself because obviously I've rewarded myself at 9 a.m. and I decided after I did a good job, I rewarded myself at 12 noon. And I was really happy with my performance and everything I accomplished. So at 3 o'clock, I rewarded myself again.
And now you know why Ed's available 24/7.
Yeah. No, it's good. That's very good. You know.
Good.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you and supporting Lori. And I think we're going to get a lot out of this with the follow-up. Let's stay in touch with one another. We'll get an email out to everybody and let's hold each other accountable to our procrastination tendency.
Thank you so much, Lori. You
Thanks,
crushed it.
everybody,
Thank you,
for your
Lori.
time.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Lori.
Alan.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.